Today we paint another miniature via our Double Slapchop Plus speed painting technique.
In our last video, we painted an ultramarine and we learned some lessons in that video. In the last video, it's a little bit more complex since we use complementary colors in the first round of the slop chop. This time, we're playing it safe. Today, we're painting an orc. Although we're going to play it safe in terms of colors, I think we will still have some lessons at the end of the video. Oh, I'm getting inquiries and even messages about the wooden handle that I'm using. This wooden handle is from Foxbite Hobbies and I have a 10% discount at the link below.
Hi, I'm Don, welcome to my channel. This channel is supported by all these awesome brands. Also, special thanks to The Army Painter for making this video possible. We start again with Zenital-ish Prime, which is like the model was primed black with black primer and then gray primer mostly from the top and then white primer sometimes mostly from the top too and finish off with white dry brushing.
As usual, we're using my Foxbite Goat Hair Dry Brush. These dry brushes come in two sizes and we're using the smallest one. As usual, we're using matte white from Warpaint's Fanatic. This paint has very good coverage. Apply the dry brushing in a couple of passes to get the best results. Now since we let the primers cure overnight and we use matte white from Warpaint's Fanatic, you could immediately start with the speed paints. Now save your Kolinsky brushes and use synthetic brushes for speed paints. Now, like what I said at the start of the video, we're using safer selection of colors in the painting of this orc. Basically, we're using analogous colors. Analogous colors are colors that appear next to each other on the color wheel. For example, red, orange, and yellow are analogous colors. Now, when combining analogous colors, it's safer. Well, not really safe. Safer is not the right word. I think it's when you're layering and combining analogous colors, it's more predictable. And yet, you create very nice color depth and very vibrant results. Almost like the opposite effect of layering and mixing complementary colors. Now, complementary colors, as most of you or all of you know, are colors opposite each other in the color wheel. Like, for example, red and green, violet and yellow, blue and orange. Now, complementary colors are really nice if you paint them beside each other. Like, for example, you paint the fur reddish brown and then the skin, as you see here, bluish, and then the leather parts or the skull parts are ochre-ish, yellowish. So it's really nice if you paint them beside each other. However, mixing complementary colors or layering them, especially if you're working with transparent paints, is kinda tricky. Depending on the actual colors that you're using and also depending on the paints, the pigments on the paints, you might end up with a muddy color.
A shameless plug ahead, our Kickstarter is fully funded and thank you so much for all the backers. You'll have 3 sets of tutorials from the different tiers. Of course, airbrushing tutorial in PDF and video format, layering and glazing or sketch and glaze in PDF and video format too, and of course our double slop chop with speed paints, which is only in PDF format because we have a ton of double slop chop videos in video format here at YouTube already. Now, after watching this video, do check out our Kickstarter. The link is down below.
Now you see here we're finished with the first round of slop chop. Notice that I used darker colors for the first round of slop chop. Normally, when you're just doing single slop chop or just painting with speed paints, I recommend you start with the lighter colors as your base colors and then just use the darker colors as a wash, as your shade colors. But since we plan to do dry brushing white on top, I decided to use darker colors. Now let's apply analogous colors.
Now, once you're happy with your first round of slop chop, we do the process all over again. And then we dry brush with white primer all over the model but mostly on the top areas.
Now let's do another round of dry brushing. Apply in multiple passes and apply with light strokes. Let dry in between passes and apply more on the top areas. Now since we use Warpaint's Fanatic from Army Painter and it's very compatible with speed paints, you could immediately proceed to painting with speed paints. Now, since we're playing it safe in terms of the colors, again, we're using analogous colors over the previous slop chop. Well, except for the base or the groundwork. I really like the effect of using complementary colors. Like this one, we use Tyrian Navy, I think, and it's blue. And then we use orange, brown, hardened leather on top. So this one, the dark areas, the shade areas will be very dark. And it gave me very nice, interesting results. Important to note though that the hardened leather here is thinned down with speed paint medium. Now we proceed to painting the red. We're using a bright red color on top of the previous slaughter red, which is dark red. Speed Paint's blood red looks a bit like red-orange to me, so that's analogous or an analogous color to the previous color. Now we're painting some yellow-brown color on top of the previously more red-brown color, and this will give us very nice color depth. Now we're painting a very bright yellow-green color on top of the blue-green that we use in the first round of slop chop. As you can see in the video, the combination of these two analogous colors are creating very nice contrast and very nice color depth. Also, I really like the combination of colors that we use on the base.
Now, if you're getting value out of this video, do give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel.
Now we use Ghillie Dhu, which is usually very bright if you're just doing single slop chop. But since we layered it on top of Lizard Folk Cyan, we created a different effect for our orc skin. Now if you want a brighter orc skin, you could use a different, more yellow-green color. Another option is to use Charming Chartreuse, and that will give you a more yellowish finish to your orc skin. Now here are the colors that we use for the second round of our slop chop.
Now once you're happy with your double slop chop, you could proceed to the plus part. That's why I call it Double Slapchop Plus, because the plus is the painting of the highlights.
Now we finish off the painting of the model by applying more glaze layering, or what I usually call fat glazes, and of course detail painting and some highlights. I was very happy with the results of our double slop chop. We created very nice, we utilized very nice color combinations that were safe because they're analogous, but we came up with very interesting results. However, I wanted the skin to be smoother, I wanted to paint more highlights, and of course paint more details, so that I won't get comments that I'm not doing any painting. I spent roughly around a little more than an hour for the double slop chop, including the drying time. However, for the glazing, layering, and detail painting, I think I spent around 4 hours.
Now before my final thoughts, a huge thanks to all my patrons at Patreon, Hajime Model Studio, and of course the Army Painter for making this video possible.
Now I realized something while looking at this collage. If you're painting an army of orcs, you could actually use different values of blues and blue-greens and cyan and turquoise for the first round of slop chop, and then use different yellow-greens and greens or even yellows for your second round of slop chop. In that manner, you create different orc skin variations with very little effort. Now you could see that the final result, like I did a lot of highlighting and texturing and painting off the flames on the groundwork, but it's important to know that obviously double slop chop or even single slop chop is a very good foundation for painting like the miniature and making it better with layering, glazes, and of course highlighting. So it's like I always say, it's a very good starting point. So the troops, if you have like 10 or 15 or 20 orcs, it will look good painted via double slop chop. But if you want to paint the HQ a little bit more and spend more time on it, again like this one, what you see on the video, then you could do so. And layering on top of the speed paint, especially double slop chop, is easier because it's a little bit darker. And of course, the double slop chop gave you, like it will give you very nice shade colors and very solid like midtones. So it's all a matter of just putting highlights to finish the model. The midtones, the very solid coverage of the midtones, is actually another advantage of double slop chop over single slop chop.
That's it, Pansit. I hope you like this video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Until next video, guys. Bye! Now, if you like this video, do check out these other videos.